c'era un errore, così non...
Okay, so we start.
Un attimo.
When you come to the island, which is a volcano, you get rather impressed. So some impressions, they go to
Sorry?
stone walls, stone houses, stone everywhere. You're impressed, you're splashed down by stones. Then, when you get the other look, you see arid agriculture. It's quite different from the...
Maybe you have to be closer.
I got to be closer? Yeah. Okay. It's quite different from all those beautiful green places, which are also there when you have wineries, but it's also very arid, dry. Then you can see what happens with all those house blocks. It's block here, block there, block there, block there. And on the roof, there are some strange things that go this way. It's like when you bump your head. And that's for a resilience of water harvesting. So you harvest water on your roof. And you harvest water on the land. And you got some kind of different agricultural practices also going on the direction of resilience. Okay? It's a hard landscape. It's a hard life. It's a hard business. It's hard work. And on the other hand, you got that blue sea. You got some other beautiful hills. And you have noises, colors, smells, which gives a lot of pleasant impressions also. Then you go to the part of what's going on in the country, in the land itself. And then we were impressed also because of the fact that there were a lot of schools and school children involved in an activity. And what was the activity? Replant plants and replant the forest because there was a huge fire going on. You can imagine a lot of wind, a lot of dry period. Then one fire goes up and can raise with all the practices. So where are we going now? We had a lot of discussions also with specialists about geology, about land, about soil, about water, a lot of things that also impressed and brought our relations about what's the relation with abandoning terraces and going on and have life on it. What's the balance? What happens when the landscape got abandoned? It is 60% now of the whole area of terraces, and the whole island is terraces. What will happen, and what are the alternatives to continue on another way, because that was clear for everybody. Then we got on always asking about the future. So there were some ideas for the future that I can resume very, very shortly, and we can discuss the details later. It's like a Pantelleria island which has got a slow development. It's not big business that grows. It's not that every kind of tourism replace landscape. No, it is a process which can go slowly but with quality, involving very different people, also involving very different landscapes, low, middle, high, asking also what will be the networks between all those different actors. And they are, of course, networks, but not so much systematically and not so much with awareness and consciousness that is useful. There was a lot of discussion also when they asked us to give the answer and to give the solution. And then some ideas can come up. We had also the idea that we could consider the island as a very central point in the Mediterranean atmosphere, ecosystems. It was in history, of course, the roots from one part to the other, commercial, cultures, Phoenicians, Romans, everybody. They looked at the island for their place to control routes, routes for traveling, routes for a lot of business. So we said also a lot of typical aspects of dryland farming, of dry stone landscape, of tourism, of winery production. We had a very good experience with wine also, as a lot of people of these groups did. And that gave us the idea that there should be sort of a Mediterranean relationship, to build a platform and to learn from each other and to also educate others. Well, the next one, we can put it in a resume like we think and we feel in our vision of the future, also listening to the people, was that this deals with a really a family economy on sustainable level. And that means also for the younger ones, because it's not only replant the forest, it means also that nowadays you're looking outside, and there are a lot of things they could deal with to look inside. Also with younger ones, also with all the things they look as a modern world, but a modern world also on the island, and also a traditional world. It's possible, and it means a lot of debate. What we found out, there wasn't so much debate. There wasn't so much relationship between different actors and sectors. So when we had a very short forum, there were quite a lot of people, and they said, we like this. Why don't you come back if we had another forum? So let us debate, let us discuss, let us tell us things which probably it's not completely the solution, but could give openings, ways. And that was the reason why we put the three things. That was the relation between the collective, no, let's go first to the awareness, the knowledge, information, relations, and collective action. 3 points of that. I think there are the action points for agriculture. That means diversification, intensification, innovation. That's not the result of universities. That's the result of local people dealing also with scientifics, but in another way than only instructive way, but to recreate agriculture on new things. A Pantelleria brand, yeah, there are a lot of things they can put on that. Also the discussion about what kind of work and activity, economic activity, will be done together with different sectors. Wine, tourism, agriculture, transport, a lot of things that dealt with tourism not as a, let's say, big business, but big human business. And we heard a lot of things about tourism, what we agree completely, but so I don't have to repeat everything. Then, a very important point, sort of a new way of doing research, new way of dealing with the main problems, also about water, about the drainage, because all the water at Fawcett goes down and you had to catch it before you lose it. So there are a lot of things also, what to do with soil, permeability, how to work with cultivation, different crops. And this kind of research is not only on, let's say, office work and not only specialist work. It's a sort of a interactive action research. So the school, the education, formation, that's when we stop. Not only for the local youngers to see how to go to other places to study. Also bring the study again back to the island and have new forms, not the ancient one and probably somehow a little bit boring. However, there are new forms. Also on distance, you can work a lot with technology, and you can work a lot in the field. But also with the farmers themselves. There's a lack of flowing knowledge, flowing information. So the relation has to be rebuilt for knowledge platforms. And perhaps also outside. Can look to other places on the whole Mediterranean area. And that could be perhaps an interesting suggestion. So we left with a lot of also questions to ask us. For the youngest, tourism and wine, who choose the future? Together or each their own path? And then also, and who will live in the future there? Will be ancient people, leaving the planet or leaving the island, or can we build an interesting island society? That's it.